Once again, good afternoon, my dear kids. Again, this is Mithun Raj hearing from this part of the world. Anyway, for 3 or 4 days, there was no class regarding science because the weather conditions in this part of Kerala, it was not a good one. Still, most of the areas it's been flooded, so there was a problem regarding electricity and all. So that's why there was a delay during classes. Okay, I hope you are revising all the topics and all. Because regarding this physics, what is the main thing? You need to revise it daily. Otherwise, what will happen? You will that flaw or that touch, it will go. And once it is gone, means very difficult to reclaim all those things, especially in physics. Okay, so we were studying about the motion, okay, the first chapter of physics for 9th standard, and it's apart from classical mechanics, and I hope it was a bit interesting chapter. Okay, basically numericals comes from this chapter. Numericals will come from this chapter, like 7 or 8 marks it will come, definitely it will come. And one important essay is there. Okay, deriving these equations are also very important, not only for 9th standard, in your higher classes also, the same application level it will come. For example, in your PUC first year and second year, about linear motion or motion in a straight line is there. These are the equations you must use there also. Okay, so we have three equations of motions. Okay, it is classical mechanics. So Newton's mechanic you will study in the next chapter. It's a bit more easier than this classical mechanics, but these equations, what you want to do, you must by heart the one, and also you must do what, you must know how to derive those. Okay, anyway, during this time, between this corona and all, traditional classes, it seems to very difficult. Okay, maybe in September we can regain all those things, but basically it's very difficult to conduct normal classes. And in the case of science, what is the main problem? We want to have a practical classes for science, especially for physics and all. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. Anyways, only in standard, what you want to do, you must listen carefully what all classes are happening, and the work. Mostly, I am giving only class notes, extra class notes, and textbook solutions are also there. So, what you want to do, you want to go through that, and after that, you want to just understand what all things are there. Okay, so these are the three equations of motion regarding displacement, acceleration, and velocity. So numericals we will do later, but one more important part is there. I already posted one graph in that group. With that graph, it's a velocity time graph. Okay, there's a lots of graphs we are studying in this chapter, but that particular graph is velocity time graph. What is the specialty of that graph? From that graph we will get all these terms. Okay, all these terms we will get. Anyway, velocity time graph means velocity will be there, 100% velocity will be there, initial velocity will be there, final velocity will be there. If we have this initial and final velocity with respect to time, easily we can find out acceleration. Understood? What the use of these equations and graph is, graphical methods are easier way to study something. Okay, graphical methods are easier ways. If you know to draw a graph and derive terms from that, it will be very easy for you to understand. But in this case, we studied about a lots of graph. But why the velocity time graph is important? Anyway, I will draw the graph and all. Already I posted one photo of that graph in your group. So just to understand that. From that graph you can see what is the value of V, what is the value of U, what is the value of T, what is the value of A and all. Okay, in that graph it is given as in point like A, B, C, D, E, F like that. So what is the specialty regarding this velocity time graph? This displacement also we can find out. from that graph. Okay, it's a 5 mark essay. This particular question is a 5 mark essay question. So getting this displacement out of that graph, that is the main important part of that. Okay. Anyway, after doing that, it will be interesting for you, I think. In the next class, we will discuss about that in detail. Okay, it will take at least half an hour for that. So this is only an introduction for that velocity time graph. From that graph, how you can take the value of displacement. Okay, displacement already we know that is ut plus half at square. We have the equation. So from that graph, we need to derive these three equations. That is also an essay. This method, if you know, means it will be easy for you to do that. Okay, this method, if you know, means it will be very easy for you. Okay, anyway, you know that the area of that graph, velocity time graph's area will give displacement. Okay, it's a simple mathematics. You need to find the area of that drawing. Okay, there is a rectangle is there, there is a triangle is there. You know the area of a rectangle is length into breadth, isn't it? Length into breadth will give the area of a rectangle, and area of a triangle, half BH, isn't it? Half base into hypotenuse will give the area of that triangle. If we add these two areas together, you will get the total displacement. That's the derivation of that map. Not map, sorry, graph. So it will be easy, I think it will be easy after the conclusion and all of that class. Okay, so let us start with one more time. We can move with some of the basic terms regarding that velocity and all. Okay, but these all things in next chapter is something else we will study. Okay, in the case of laws of motions of Isaac Newton, laws of motion, I think you already know about the three motions framed by Sir Isaac Newton. We will study that in next class. Next class, not next chapter. Okay, in that case, force will come, mass will come, acceleration also is there, and also momentum and inertia, something extra we will study. Okay, but these motion, laws of motion are the basic regarding classical mechanics or physics, not the entire physics, only mechanics part of this physics. Mechanics part means the part which deals with motion of different types of bodies. Okay, and once you understand these points, it will be very easy for you to learn physics. So keep in mind what is the value of velocity time graph. We are deriving the equations of motion from velocity time graph. Okay, why velocity time graph is important? Because we studied a lots of graphs based on time. In that we cannot get the value of all these terms. Okay, for example, acceleration time graph is there. We cannot get the value of displacement in that. But what is the importance of velocity time graph? We can find out the value of initial velocity and final velocity. Time already it is given. If you know velocity and time, we can find acceleration, isn't it? So it's simple or not? But at the same time, displacement. Okay, how we can calculate that? The surface area, isn't it? The surface area gives that. So it's a very tricky part and the most important part of that chapter. Okay, that if we finish, that means the chapter is finished. And if the first and second chapter of physics is over, means your half workload is finished. They are the two difficult chapters of NCERT science textbook. So we will, after that we will do a lots of numericals regarding that. Okay, numericals is the base of physics. This year also and next year also for exams there will be a lots of numericals will ask, and if you got the base of that, easily you can solve all those things. Okay, so the solving these equations or deriving this equation is something new. We already discussed that in the previous videos. If you have any doubt, means you can rewatch that video. Okay, that's why we are recording the video and sending you the link. Okay, live classes if you are making, means if you have any doubt, again you cannot ask or refer. So if it is a record, means it's fine. Anytime you can just open the video and you can Watch it. Okay. So the next class we will derive the equations from that graph. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's easier than this one. Okay, this is common mathematics. We use the application of common mathematics to derive these three equations. Okay, so these three equations, from where we are dividing, we are starting it from acceleration. We know that acceleration is the value of velocity, rate of velocity. Ah, rate of change of velocity is called as acceleration. From that equation, we will get the first equation, and we substitute these values in different equations we already know, so that we will get the final three important equations, these three equations. Okay, that's the most important part of physics, non-standard physics, and also the same equations we need to derive it from what? You need to derive it from that graph also. And after that we will go with the numericals. Okay, numericals is, I think it's very simple, that much. Only the square, when it comes to square, it will some more mathematics is there, more solutions are there, but regarding for 9th standard exam, numericals will be very easy. Okay, but you must know how to apply these equations in that question. Okay, terms and all we will study in next class. Okay, for I think this will be the one important introduction regarding that. For next class, we will study how to derive what these equations, these same equations from that graphical method of derivation of equations of motion. Okay, two part, important part. One, this one, second one, graph. Mostly this graphical method it will ask. Mostly the same question will ask for example. That is very important regarding 9th standard, and in 10th standard anyway you are not studying about that, but for higher classes, okay, if you are going for engineering and all, it's a very important thing. Mechanical engineering and all, it's a very important part of physics, and engineering is nothing without physics. So that's the importance of this part. Okay, so next class we will solve it in the graphical method. Keep in mind, graphical method, we are using only one such graph called as the velocity time graph, because the area of that graph will give us displacement. If you get displacement, already velocity is there, already time is there, easily we can find out acceleration and also displacement. So that single graph will give the values of all these things. Okay, so that's for today. I hope the class was interesting, and I also hoping that all of you are safe at home. This is the time of these natural disasters and all. We are already suffering from this corona pandemic, so it's better to stay at home, stay safe. Anyway, the number of corona patients is being what, like a peak in our country, so it's not safe to go out. So hope this situation will go down and the school will reopen soon. Okay, if the school is reopening, means it will take only 6 months to finish all those things. So that's all for today. Be home, be safe, and bye, my dear kids. Jai Hind also.